Hold up. What's going on, you guys? Let's go. Sombra del Piso back, but we're gonna do a new segment on the channel. This is gonna be very, very fun. We're gonna be perusing the news, you know, cruising through the blues of the news. Now, what we're really doing is we're gonna start reading the news. We've just bought a subscription to News Plus on the iPhone, and now we have access to a whole plethora of news sources. We have access to the Washington Times, the Evening Standard from England, you know, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Men's Health, GQ, which is not really a valid news source because it's just a whole bunch of overprivileged men complaining about stuff. Whatever. We have access to all of that, and then we're gonna start now talking about different articles and whatnot. I'm gonna see if I could do a daily thing. Maybe it'll just be every other day, just because I'm gonna have to edit this stuff, and then post it, which will take a long time. Of course, in the midst of putting out other videos and other content and work in real life, but we're gonna see what happens. Just stick with Sombra del Piso. We're gonna go far. But like, comment, subscribe. Let's get right into it. I sort of bookmarked, I did a little perusal yesterday, and I bookmarked a couple things that might be interesting for us to cover. So let's see what we got here. Save stories. There's this article, right, that I read. It's National Geographic. We know these guys, famous for talking about impoverished areas in the world, and of course, putting, you know, people with all this money over there to absorb and glean information, and then don't leave the culture just as they found it instead of donating or anything. National Geographic. So this article, surprisingly, is not about, you know, these countries or third world places or anything. This one is really interesting. It was talking about how the headline, Mocktails have some surprising health benefits even for drinkers. Let's check this out. I think this is a whole bunch of cods. This is nonsense. Like, my personal opinion, I don't drink. Sombra del Piso does not drink. Drinking is poisonous. Imagine paying a premium price. Like cocktails nowadays, like a martini, right? You're paying for vermouth, which is alcoholic. You're paying for vodka or gin, whatever the base liquor that you chose for that drink is. Poison, right? And you mix a whole bunch of things together, and you're getting like probably a fraction of a cup of alcohol. You're paying close to $20 for it just to fit in with your friends. I think it's kind of silly. I don't drink at all, not because I don't feel like paying an exorbitant amount of money to fit in with friends, but I also don't feel like paying an exorbitant amount of money to poison myself, right? And have lasting effects on the body. That is incalculable. So these guys are pushing mocktails, which I guess is a great alternative, but at the end of the day, if you guys are living in any metropolises and you go to places where they offer mocktails, you know that you're paying close to the price of a cocktail with alcohol for a whole bunch of juices and essences. Definitely not worth it. Let's see what these guys got to say. It's by a person named Rachel Fairbank. When John DeBari, of course, I got to talk about a specific person here, started working as a bartender at the legendary New York City cocktail bar Please Don't Tell in 2008, he knows that customers occasionally requested cocktails without alcohol. To serve them, he developed a small set of recipes for non-alcoholic cocktails or mocktails. After a while, he noticed that offering mocktails led to an increase in beverage sales, because he probably realized that these same people are willing to pay an exorbitant amount of money for drinks without alcohol. So naturally, instead of, it's like all like cost benefit analysis, right? Like they still, the companies, like these establishments still have to pay a whole bunch of money for alcohol and whatnot, right? But they realize that if they could charge the same amount for mocktails without alcohol as a cocktail, and they're not, you know, remember the source these materials, they're paying like cents. Because what they put for mocktails, they put in like mango juice, thyme, lemon juice, simple syrup, and you know, all those non-alcoholic things. Like, you know, you're basically, they're putting all these non-alcoholic things that you're not paying a lot of money for. And clearly the profit margins are going to be higher. He then went on to manage the cocktail programs for the popular Momofuku restaurants. He made a point to create a comprehensive list of mocktails. horrible. What is behind the rise in non-alcoholic drinks? He attributes his early success with mocktails to simple economics. It's just responding to latent demand that was already there. The thing is, guys, there are more people that go to a bar that ask for cocktails than they do for mocktails. It's just that he realized that instead of having those people that are not interested in cocktails or drinking, he realized that he could put a couple little essences and juices in there, charge them like $15, have a fancy name on it, right? It's crazy. However, in recent years, Dabari has seen this interest in non-alcoholic drinks grow, particularly since the COVID pandemic in 2020. He and other experts attributed to an increasing awareness about the negative health impacts of alcohol, a desire to moderate their pandemic drinking habits, and an increasing interest in health and wellness. Look how horrible our society is. We have a society that is completely aware of the dangerous effects of alcohol. There's no moderation in consuming alcohol that's healthy. It's poison, full stop. It will destroy your organs over time. It will destroy your brain over time. It will make your bones brittle. This is alcohol. These people know this information and they still are allowed to sell it en masse. Of course, you have to be smart. If you ban alcohol, there will be a black market for it, especially at this stage where there's a whole bunch of people addicted to alcohol. So we've been screwed from the beginning, ever since this poison was introduced to our social fabric. You have to realize that even when you go to mocktails, there's a lot of sugar that you're ingesting too. There's a lot of, you're consuming a lot of sugar. You can't throw back cocktails. I mean, you shouldn't even be throwing back cocktails in general or alcoholic beverages because it's just poisonous. But it's just the same danger level with mocktails because it's all sugar. That stuff, you're just consuming a whole bunch of refined sugar. The trick is, if you're gonna go to a bar, just like socialize, have a sparkling water. Why do you need a drink? I just don't get it. So anyway, the article just goes on to talk about making a successful mocktail, the health benefits of mocktails, which they're talking about in a relative sense. All in all, guys, what have we learned from this article? Stay away from alcohol. Excessively drinking mocktails at a bar? No. I think it's almost as bad as consuming alcohol. Refined sugar is it's just as poisonous. Stay away from alcohol, stay away from mocktails, just drink sparkling water, have a lime, and just enjoy yourself. Socialize, God damn it. We got another article here. Bloomberg Business Week, importance of Bloomberg Business Week. Another Rachel, she's saying kids hooked on video games prompt a flurry of lawsuits. So I'm guessing their parents are just like, my kid has learning disabilities and I didn't do well to schedule their video game time. So now I'm suing the video game companies for putting a disorder, making my kid have a disorder. Let's see. Kushanel Donnerson says her 14-year-old has played Call of Duty, NBA 2K, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Roblox games so much over the past 9 years that it led to brain damage. What is this? A stroke and seizures. This other woman, Jacqueline, says her 9-year-old has been playing many of the same video games at an increasing uncontrollable pace since age 6 and been diagnosed with multiple psychiatric disorders. Okay, I'm gonna say something, right? As a person that's grown up with video games, I don't think that video games in excess does any psychological damage. I think that if anything, there is some psychological effects, as in there's an inverse relationship with people that play video games. This is what I've realized. There's an inverse relationship with people that play video games and people that socialize. There's a lot of people that play video games that don't socialize as often, and they even go so far as to validate why they don't socialize. They create all these reasons, as in the outside world is a very dark, shadowy, random place that's very harmful to the psyche of the individual, and they find comfort in playing video games, especially when they go on like their Xbox Live parties or their chat parties, their voice chat parties, and they are with like-minded individuals that echo this sort of behavior. I grew up with video games. I love playing Castlevania, Advance Wars, Pokemon, Etrian Odyssey, like real Shin Megami Tensei, very powerful video game titles. I enjoyed myself. The thing is, I realized that I was essentially wasting my time. I wouldn't get homework done. I wouldn't, have time to focus on my personal projects. And I saw myself staying in for hours and hours at a time instead of enjoying the outside world. So I definitely understand where these parents are coming from. They could be very enlightening if you play good stories, you know, get into good stories and whatnot. RPGs are good, and of course multiplayer games, you know, it's still, with males, you still get that same effect of increased testosterone because you're playing a competitive sport to some degree, right? Chanel have joined a wave of lawsuits that accuse the video game industry of profiting from intentionally promoting mass addiction. The complaints have been stacking up since last year when hundreds of other families won rulings allowing them to pursue similar claims against the biggest social media platforms. Decades after tobacco companies were hit with a crush of addiction lawsuits, more and more technology giants are facing their own reckoning in the courts. The thing is, you can't say, okay, comparing video game companies, the detrimental effects of video games, you can't compare that to smoking. Smoking literally has drugs that continue the cycle of addiction in people. You can't say that video games have that same thing. Of course, the thing is, video games nowadays are designed to have the player dump hundreds of hours for minimal reward and minimal gain. Once upon a time, and the games are not even complete. When you buy games nowadays, a lot of the rest of the game are protected by some sort of downloadable content that you have to pay additionally for. It's crazy. I think that if anything, you need to accuse these guys of potentially scamming their customers because they're giving them incomplete games. I don't think that video games companies should be sued for being addictive. You know, because it's like, what is the cure for that? What is the solution? What is the alternative? Them making complete games that are less addicting? What it is that I think we need to tackle an even bigger problem, which is, why are people being addicted to video games in the first place? Is there some sort of outer, like, additional factors that are lending to it, rather than the video game just being designed incredibly well, you know, with great UI? To tackle the main argument, which is video games have some addictive quality that's sort of poisoning our youth, I don't think that this is true. I think that there are probably some outside factors that are lending to it. Maybe they don't have a lot of role models outside that urge them to be a bit more physical and a bit more social with the people physically in their space, which is why they go to video games. I think that a lot of parents have been taking shortcuts and raising their kids, and they just put them in front of a video game, right? And they just, like, you know, the video game keeps them quiet. It keeps them quiet for hours. They barely come out for food and whatnot. So I think this is perfect. I think that we need to tackle the other issues surrounding video games and just the culture of the demographic that plays video games in order to discover whether it's the video games themselves that are addictive, or maybe it's the coping with the reality, which is hard for a lot of individuals, which sends them to video games. We're gonna go to one more thing. There's a guy on my channel, right? One of the longtime supporters, Curse, a mysterious apocalyptic man, a mysterious apocalyptic man, right? All the way from Finland. He's all about cold baths and submerging yourself in cool water. So this article was very, very interesting when I checked it out. By Scientific American, that's the name of the magazine. Written by, we don't know. A Jesse Greenspan. Taking the plunge. They're talking about the benefits of cold water plunging. Now, I'm gonna tell you, my experience with cold water plunging, like, I used to work at this restaurant. This guy was like, yo, Sombra, come with me to my gym. It has a cold water plunge, it has a sauna, it has all these various machines for exercise. You'll really, really enjoy it. I was like, okay, sure, let's check it out. How much is it? Usually the day pass is $50, but it's your first time, so you'll be free. $50 a day for a gym is absolutely absurd. There's different tiers of gyms, and then they're charging exorbitant rates, like Equinox, right? Like Third Space in England, various other luxury type gyms that charge over $330 a month for gym access. I think that's absolutely insane. And the fact that there are people that validate this behavior by paying those subscriptions are even more insane. The blind leading the, well, it's not the blind leading the blind, really. It's more of like this manipulative, capitalist individuals that are leading the uninitiated. Let's keep on track here, taking the plunge, tallying the benefits of cold water swimming. So cold water swimming is surging in popularity, particularly in Northern Europe, where such groups as the Blue Tits Chill Swimmers eschew tropical beach vacations in favor of frigid winter dips. Only Europeans are into some silly crap like this. Imagine being an individual that doesn't like going to the beach or doesn't like the sun, right, essentially, and would prefer staying in a very, very cold environment and swimming, making yourself even more vulnerable to the elements by being completely naked and wet. This is nuts. So, and now they have the backing of some celebrity practitioners, Kate Winslet and Bradley Cooper, both of European descent, have enhanced this icy pastimes cachet. Me, listen, I am not against the potential benefits of cold water plunging or cold water swimming. I know it does a lot to the body. I know with semen retention, guys, with my fellow semen retention practitioners on my channel, I know there's a lot of, they talk about the benefits of the combined semen retention practice and cold showers being completely liberating to the self. Talking about eschewing tropical beach vacations because you want to submerge yourself in cold water, I think that's nuts. Remember, the cold is not natural. The cold is an absence of heat. Heat is natural. Heat is from the sun. The colder that something is, the farther away it is from the sun and everything natural. And you'll see more desolation. Things do not grow in the cold. So the fact that people identify with this kind of stuff is kind of nuts. Let's keep going. As far back as 400 BCE, Hippocrates claimed that cold water swimming relieves fatigue. Aficionados have since credited it with benefits ranging from improved sleep to enhanced libido. Well, I haven't done cold water swimming long enough to ascertain those benefits that they're saying here, enhanced libido. But there's a lot of things that you can do in tropical climates that will do these things, that will produce these results, improve sleep and enhance libido. The reason why there's a lot of studies that recently say that if you do this, you'll get improved sleep is because they're sort of talking in a relative sense. A lot of people are not sleeping well nowadays because of the mass exposure of social media and phones, the blue light of these super advanced phones. They do something to our brains which keeps us up for hours on end, which is the reason why any sort of exercise or any sort of habit change that mitigates or reduces the use of your phone will aid in sleep. So this benefit doesn't prove anything. Female swimmers, right? Female cold water swimmers, apparently in a recent survey of 1,114 of them, said that more than 1/3 reported that their hobby eased mood swings associated with menstruation and menopause. And amongst menopausal respondents, 47% said it reduced anxiety, 30% said it reduced hot flashes, and 20% said it reduced night sweats. Okay, so I'm not denying this, but I'm not denying these benefits. I'm still against the initial Blue Tits Chill Swimmers group that's going online and saying, guys, who cares about tropical beach vacations? Let's just stay in Europe and freeze to death. Like, this is stupid. Of course, cold water bathers have also reported pain relief from musculoskeletal injuries and decreased symptoms of depression, as well as feeling more alert and attentive overall. In one study, they reported improvements in mood just after one dip. I agree with all of this. This is all very, very powerful stuff. I can only imagine what Curse, the mysterious apocalyptic man, is feeling every day because he's doing this consistently. I can only imagine the benefits that he has. We got some risk here. Cold water swimming does carry risk naturally. It can cause hypothermia, drowning, and cardiac arrhythmia, right? As we knew, because you're plunging in ice cold water, making yourself vulnerable. You have no protection. It's just your skin against the harsh elements that's far away from heat, that's far away from the sun. Experts caution that people with health conditions should consult their doctors before trying a polar bear plunge, which is just this, I guess, plunging in water. They have all these very fancy names for these things. This is nuts. They also suggest easing in slowly and when possible and not going alone. I recently swam in a semi-frozen lake and I was overcome with uncontrollable laughter. when the water's too warm, it loses some of its buzz. I think that you should do it once every other day, maybe once a week for some people, or however often the doctor recommends for people with conditions. I think that you should do that. Of course, it all depends on the aptitude for cold water temperatures for some people. If it helps someone to do it every day, it helps. I just don't think that it's a proper alternative to hanging out in tropical weather. Tropical weather is natural weather. It's with heat, things grow. There's verdance in tropical weather in terms of crops, flowers, life, all of that. There's a lot of vitamins that you can get just hanging out in tropical weather, consuming tropical fruits. And I don't think that cold water plunging is an alternative to that. So for the blue tit cold swimmers or whatever they call themselves, that's a whole bunch of poo. It's a whole bunch of Europeans that just can't handle the sun, and they're just saying that this is a better alternative, right? Anyway, that's all for perusing the news today with Sombra del Piso. So if you like that content, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any criticisms, this is my first episode of it. If it's probably too long or a little too vague in my descriptions of things, just let me know. Leave all these comments on the comment section below. Let me know if I'm doing right. Let me know if I could improve. With that being said, don't let this world get you down. We're surrounded by everyday toxins. We're surrounded by Europeans claiming that cold water is better for you than tropical weather. We're surrounded by all these crazy belief systems that are meant to bring us down, but we got to keep rising over it. For us men, semen retention. Just try to allocate, or not allocate, or identify and ascertain the things in your life that are beneficial to you spiritually, mentally, and physically, and continue identifying with those things. And stay radiant. I'll see you guys in the next one.